I basically got introduced to Superfans from being in Derral Eves' YouTube program called Channel Jumpstart. And that was one of the big updates they've made to the program recently is somebody in the program named Fernando built a tool called Superfans to basically help YouTube creators get a really good read on their analytics so that they can improve their videos. So today, I'm going to interview Fernando about how the tool works, how it differs from like other YouTube analytic tools out there. There's like VidIQ, there's just the YouTube analytics. So I want to learn how to use this tool, why people like Derral Eves think it's a better tool for YouTubers, and how I can use it to grow my little baby channel. So let's go. The question I have for you is, what do you think is the biggest mistake you see YouTubers make that stops them from growing their account?
That's a good question. Yeah.
2,000 years later.
This is a thoughtful answer. I like it.
Oh yeah. Well, this is a topic I think a lot about. So, although you are in Channel Jumpstart, so
Plan, execute, analyze, adjust.
You know, I'm not affiliated necessarily with Channel Jumpstart outside of Derral. Well, I'm affiliated with Derral, but you know, he's an investor in our company, and this was much after we had met and started working with Superfans. Superfans actually became the sort of official tool for CJS research before all of that happened. But the reason why we connected was because, you know, his thesis very much so aligns with how we see, you know, YouTube work and the ecosystem. But I love that question, and excited to tell you
Nice.
the answer for sure.
Cool. The biggest question that I just kind of want to get your thoughts on is basically exactly what you just touched on. Like, why is Superfans a good tool for YouTubers? You know, like, what does it offer that other tools out there, like, you know, VidIQ was a big one, or just using like the YouTube analytics? Like, what's the kind of the difference, I suppose?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll share my screen so that we can kind of, you know, move through but happy to go through your screen if you have any questions as well. But let me go ahead and share. So that's a great question. So one thing that I will, you know, begin by mentioning is that the business of Superfans, you know, we have two products. One is Superfans, the creator product, and the other one is Fandom AI, which is an enterprise, effectively marketing product. So the way that product works is that we help businesses, anybody, brands who want to create an ad campaign, specifically on Google. We effectively allow them to say, hey, here's the audience that I think would be interested in my product. Here's the product I'm trying to get in front of them. So we've basically gotten very good at doing what's called audience models. So we can model an audience based on the data that, you know, you get from comments, that you get from likes and dislikes, metadata on the channel, and then very importantly, the content that they're watching, because, you know, how people engage is very important, but how people engage contextualized by the environment that they are engaging in, that is the kind of holy grail, we'll say, of understanding an audience. Audience models are effectively a description of an audience that's very, very, very complicated, very complex, that can be used by an AI agent to then understand that audience itself and do several things, you know, with that audience. The reason why I'm bringing all of this up is that, and this is perhaps a little bit more of my sort of cynical view of YouTube, but this is something that Derral very much so shares. Channel Jumpstart will have taught you something similar to this, which is that ultimately it's not very complicated to understand what drives the YouTube algorithm, right? What drives the YouTube algorithm is ultimately what is going to get eyeballs so that advertisers will pay more money, and the money will drive the platform, and creators will get paid and then make more content for more people to watch so that more advertisers are interested. platform. So ultimately, that advertiser component is just something that that you cannot ignore when it comes to actually understanding YouTube. And because we work very closely with them, that knowledge is embedded in what we show you as a creator in Superfans, right? So that's one of the big sort of differentiators in terms of Superfans, is that we do bridge both sides of of the divide. And actually, we've been doing a lot of work. This is a little fact here for you, but we've been doing a lot of work to actually bring in brands closer to creators in terms of bringing them into the conversation, because we see that there is a very big divide. Creators don't talk to advertisers. Advertisers don't talk to creators, even though that's what makes the whole ecosystem sort of spin around. So a lot of this knowledge is baked into this and into Superfans. And because of that, you're not really going to see a lot of the analytics that you see in like other platforms like VidIQ and things like that. Superfans is much more geared to be a research and business assistant for you as a creator, for your content, and for the businesses that you are hopefully building online on YouTube. Everything that you've learned in Channel Jumpstart in terms of analyzing, trends, content buckets, all that, of course, is built into this. So, I think the better comparison to Superfans as opposed to the existing creator tools like TubeBuddy and VidIQ is that we are much closer to something like a Claude or a ChatGPT that has full access on demand for any channel, any video that you would like to research, and has built in. So our custom models have been trained not with internet general data like the other, AI tools out there, but specifically with things like the YouTube formula, Superfans by Pat Flynn, the real sort of meat and potatoes of how do you grow your audience? How do you understand YouTube? And because of that, you do also have a lot more freedom. So that is something that I always mention, is that, we are an assistant tool. We don't aim to replace anything. We don't aim to replace you as a creator. We don't want to make videos for you. We want you to make the best videos you can make. We want you to understand your audience in the best way that you can. Right. So to get started here, first thing that you're always going to do with Superfans is channels. So it's either going to be your channel or one of the channels that you want to research. So adding a channel, if you've seen the tool, easy as searching for something on YouTube. So you could search for whatever you'd like. One thing you might see now that is a little bit new is that we have several channels that other users have already initiated into like the AI. The AI has already learned about them. So as you can see here, some of them are really big channels. But if you want to research those channels, you can hit that little button there, like the use button, and then that will just happen immediately. So you don't have to wait for the AI to sort of learn about your channel. But here, what's a channel that you would like to research?
That's interesting that you can just look up any channel. Let's do Diary of a CEO.
That is a great channel.
Yes, I watch a lot
of his content. Jordan. Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett. Yeah.
Yes, I am very. Oh, and so because it says use, I assume someone has already initiated this channel. And this just means that. So as you can see, this is green already. If this channel is something that our AI is still learning about, it will be orange. Maybe it'll take a couple of minutes, up to 5 minutes. That's basically our AI going over to YouTube and saying, okay, let me read every comment. Let me take a look at the content. Let me take a look at the descriptions and the titles, and just get familiar with the sort of ecosystem of this channel, right? Mm-hmm. But again, this one was already loaded, so we have the nice real or little green bubble there. Moving over here to the Explore tab, this is effectively your at a glance kind of sentiment report and comment search. So just a couple of things to highlight quickly here. This graph will show you effectively sentiment over time on this channel. Interesting to note, basically how certain posts might be affecting the sentiment of the channel. Maybe something happened here that was a little bit more negative, or perhaps it was just something about the video itself. If we click on it here, we can actually see the comments at this time frame here at the bottom.
So what do you mean when you say sentiment of a channel?
Oh, great question. So sentiment analysis, this actually brings us back to a little bit of our brand advertiser connection, which is, this is basically a measurement of how people are feeling in your channel. So are they positive? Are they negative? Are they neutral? So interestingly with Diary of a CEO, perhaps because, and just so you know, like, sentiment scoring on a scale of 10 to 10 to positive 10, negative 0.01 means that effectively this is a neutral channel. Like, people are probably just talking about business. They're probably talking about topics, I assume. They might not be necessarily like hating on the channel, but it's not a channel where people are like, wow, this is fantastic and I love everything and stuff like that, which surely we can find some of those channels as well. But in here, interestingly, we can see that, like, wow, they're okay. This post here during this day, people were having some pretty heated discussions. It seems, and then we can even see maybe a comparison to a day where things were a little bit more neutral. In fact, yeah, we can see that very quickly. I can see that people aren't, yelling at each other and calling things Chinese propaganda. So there's a lot that you can learn from how an audience is behaving with this, right? And then a couple of other things just to sort of like help you with your research. These are going to be the top topics that the audience is talking about. I can click into any of these and then again do an exploratory comment search, see what people are talking about that topic, feeling. You can see here the little search bubbles are showing up. You can also search for anything. I can search for, if I want to know if people are talking about sandwiches, I can do that. Really, whatever, you're interested in knowing, is this audience talking about X? I can go ahead and search that. These are going to be the top things they are talking about. So politics, people are talking too much about politics, I feel like, these days, because this is a business channel, right? We shouldn't be talking so much about politics. But now, if we want to know a little bit, this is going to be more CJS kind of related. Let's also figure out, what are the intents? So this is like, what is the intent behind the comment that user is leaving? We can see that the majority are complaints, and we can go in and check whether, are these, oh, interesting. So I actually left a topic on, I forgot about that. So here's a complaint about geopolitics, but we'll remove that. And we'll just see all of the complaints that people are leaving in the channel. This could actually be very interesting for a business channel, because often a complaint might not be about your channel, right? A complaint might be about the state of the US government, or about how a certain business is acting, or whatever. That can be a video for you right there, right? So these fans are out here saying something. I think that's one thing that I often, when I'm talking to creators, no spoilers here, actually, I'll tell you at the end, because that's part of my answer. But that is something that that is absolutely crucial to do, is understanding the value of a person showing up and choosing to engage, right? I often tell people this. So as a creator, hopefully this is helpful to you, but I got invited to Dubai to talk about this. Don't know that I would go back. Not my favorite place, but I would talk about this again anytime anyone wants me to talk about, which is the value of engagement, right? On YouTube. So oftentimes people think that, man, this person just came to my video and said, love the video. That's not too much, right? That took like a second, probably. Not really. If you actually look at how people's brains operate during that procedure, during that choice-making procedure of leaving that simple comment, they took on average 7 actions in their mind to get to that point, right? So they first off watched your video to the point that they had something to say. That's already one. Secondly, they made the decision. They came to the decision that they were going to take an action, that they were going to engage. That's number two. Third, they actually had to think of something. They wrote, even if it's simple, they had to think of what they were going to write. That's number three. Third, and this is an interesting one, almost every person who is doing this will go through a period of thinking, even if it's brief, even if it's for a few seconds, they're going to think, am I actually going to post this? Am I actually going to write? Am I actually going to hit submit? Are people going to think this is silly? Am I going to sound silly for doing this? So that's number four. And then there is often an action of going back and reading the thing you just wrote. That's usually number five. And then the most important one that people ignore is then leaving it up. Right. So like oftentimes when I choose to do something like leave a comment, again, these are all decisions we're making in seconds. And Mario Juice, who is behind the whole like Mr. Beast Analytics, Derral has worked with him several times. He literally did like brain scan research on people how people behave. There's a reputational risk associated with it. Even if it's for a second, you're thinking, I'm putting my reputation behind this. And then there's a couple of other actions that can happen afterwards, like if you reply, the person going back and engaging with your reply, or even going back and seeing that you hearted a comment and feeling positive about that. Usually that's another distinct action. And then if it's really good, then there's the distinct action of recommending, right? Like telling someone else. That's the best one, because that is a significant reputational risk that the person is taking, by basically saying, you should watch this, So this is a great tool for you to understand. What is the engagement level? What is the investment that people are making in my channel by choosing to engage in these ways? And then one that's a little bit of a hack is just questions. I would always look at that one, no matter what. Basically, this is going to be a huge way for you to understand, like, what can I make videos about? People are asking these questions, so I should respond, right? Like these are all basically video ideas packaged right for you, right in the audience.
Now, are these questions that people specifically asked on a Diary of a CEO video, or it's just showing that these people who are the audience of this channel have asked these questions on other videos?
So this is people asking, these people have asked these questions on Diary of the CEO. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So this is for this channel, but of course I can look at any channel by just going, boop, and then picking whatever I've uploaded here. So question suggestions are two that I believe are really, really helpful. If you're looking at competitive channels, critiques are also really helpful, because people are often telling you how to improve your channel effectively without you having to ask, right? And then a couple of things, languages, always helpful for bigger channels. And then top fans, oftentimes we do run scam or spam detection on this. Top fans can be a little bit tricky depending on whether or not it is spam. Again, we run spam detection. It's not always perfect, but this is a really great way, and Derral will have most likely told you guys in CJS and the CJS teachers, a really great way of actually following the journey of this fan. So this person has left 36 comments, and I can go and kind of see that journey, right? Like this person has left 67 comments, and it looks like they're real. So I could actually go in here and even see, okay, maybe a little negative here, a little positive here. I can now start to follow the journey of this person and understand what they're talking about. So anyway, it's a way for following the fan journey. You can do this again for any channel. So this is a top research tool for sure. And then, as I said, search, always helpful. So just being able to search for any comments. So from here, I'm just going to go over to the chat, because this has basically given us a foundation, right? I can look at a glance and sort of see what are people talking about, spikes in sentiment. I can look at, and by the way, not only sentiment, I can also just look at, spikes in comments. So people left a bunch of comments this day. So I can go and look at the trends. That's the core piece, right? Like I can see trends of how this channel is behaving and how the fans are engaging very quickly. And then now over in the chat is where we can really get creative, right? So you will always have a couple of recommendations to start your journey. These are pretty in-depth. So, these will give you often a very good response. But now if we're going to Diary of a CEO, for example, from here, we can start to say, one of the questions, for example, we asked, I noticed the sentiment on this channel was neutral to negative. Is this reflective of the audience disliking the channel or the topics the channel covers? So even something like this, right, where I can start to understand, are these topics I could cover? Because, maybe people, again, are not, they might engage with the topic in a heavy way, but if they're not engaging with the channel in a heavy way, then that seems pretty good. I mean, that's okay. Like, that's something that I could explore. Now I know that this is a topic that's driving engagement, right? So that is one of the big kind of ways to utilize the platform. From here, I could also ask about, for example, the questions that we saw people asking, right? What are the questions that fans are asking that would most likely convert into a good video? I can tell the AI assistant a little bit about the videos that I've made in the past that I would like to then, expand on. And even a little trick that I'll show you later, that I'll show you in a second, is that you can switch the channel, the context, mid conversation. So I could, for example, go into Diary of a CEO and say, find all the topics that a smaller YouTube channel could easily cover that are highly engaging to this audience. And then it'll go and search through Diary of CEO. And then I can switch to my own channel, for example, and say, based on my channel, what are the videos that I should make from those topics?
Damn, I feel like I need to do exactly that.
Absolutely. That's something that is so, and again, it says really as easy as adding the channels that you want. And then right here, right, I could go, so let's actually just do that. So let me go with, let me see. Okay. Colin and Samir, right. A creator economy coverage channel. Let's do that. So, okay. So interesting. So there are some complaints about the channel. Specifically, it seems about guests that may have been on the channel. That makes sense. But then we see that number 2 is topic related, right? Here, I would really look into this if I was Steven. I would really look into the reputational aspect of things. Number 1, controversial guests, to be honest, I don't think that's a big deal. I think that's what people are watching for, honestly. And
yeah, it's kind of a good thing.
Exactly. Heavy existential and sensitive topics, I would actually say that's a thumbs up. That's a good sign that, we're able to cover things. People still keep coming back and they don't hate on us for them. This is where I would mostly be like, okay, what is this? So that's interesting here. So for example, if I was Steven in this case, we're seeing that there's a subset of viewers who is expressing this. I would want to look into those viewers, right? What are they saying? Is it spam? Is it just hate? Or is it real? How many comments have they left in the past, right? Is this the only time they showed up is just to say this? In which case, maybe, we'll track it, but it's not too much of a concern until we start to see the real fans come in and start to say the same things. And maybe they are, right? So from here, I could go that direction. Or again, I'm not Stephen Bartlett, so we'll let him handle his channel. But I could say right here, right? Are there any topics here that would make a good video? And I could say for my channel or for the pin channel. So at this point, what we've done is tell the AI, go and stop looking at Diary SEO for a second. And now let's look at Colin and Samir. And now again, it has all that memory, right? So it knows everything that it answered you before. It's going to do a search. That's what you're seeing it happen right now. It's basically looking at Colin and Samir now and saying, okay, well, let's see if there's anything here. And then we're going to get a nice topical, list here for the channel.
Wow.
Yeah. So really a lot that you can do with the tool, Kelsey. And I mean, this kind of, scratches the surface. Like we have a lot of different things that you can do. You can, for example, just type the @ symbol right here and then ask a question. Like I can pin a channel from here, but then most importantly, I can talk to the fans of this channel. These are AI personas of the fans of this channel. And basically I can talk to the fans of this channel and ask them questions, right? So I can say, hey, super fan of Diary of the CEO. What are your favorite videos? What are the videos you most like to watch compared to a potential fan? The way that we're calculating this is basically all of the stuff that I showed you. We're doing sentiment analysis. We're looking at how often they've commented. Are the comments real? Are they engaged comments? Or are they, just like short? Are they long? Are they talking about the video? Are they talking about nothing else? Anyway, so there's a lot that we put into those personas. So yeah, as simple as pinning a channel, typing @, picking one of those, and then ask away. It's like you're talking with a fan of the channel.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so just to be clear, you have to have made sure that channel is in, like you've entered it into your Explore tab. The AI has already looked at it in some way in order to be able to then come to this chat and talk to the bot about it.
Exactly. Nice. So
Nice.
once that bubble turns from orange to green, you're good to go. Yeah,
nice.
You're good to go with the channel. And again, if it's like a massive channel, Ryan Trahan or something, that might take 20 minutes at most. For most channels, it'll be somewhere between 30 seconds and 5 minutes.
Nice.
So very, very short. And here we got our video ideas. Kind of interesting. Another thing too, right? So it's even going to pull from actual fan conversations and tell you about, why these would be good ideas. One thing that I'll say now as a person who does YouTube a lot, I'm actually in Colin and Samir's writer's room. So I help them like write stories and stuff like that. This is very interesting to see that, the AI sort of focused on the clickbait part of things. So it kind of noticed that from a YouTuber's perspective, that's the most concerning thing. So that's the video I'm going to recommend. Again, the sky's the limit here, really. And again, happy to join on another call because I know I just talked at you a lot here. But happy to jump on another call so we can maybe do an exploration through your channel and kind of go through and work on some of that together. Love doing that with CJS students.
Nice.
Just a couple of other things here. I have my waiting room open, so once they join, I'm good until they join. Insights. This is the little notification bell that you have over here. So what this does is allows you to schedule regular insights. These are going to go to your email inbox. So it's going to be like having a research assistant type something up for you. And basically I can choose the type of insight that I want, or I can write my own, choose the channel. So in this case, if I wanted to do Diary of a CEO, we'll just leave that there. And then let's say, if it's your channel, you might do any of these video ideas, product opportunities. Every week, maybe I want to get just 10 fresh video ideas from my channel. Maybe it's just something entirely maybe, you want, hey, look through what my audience is saying and write me a script draft just so I have it. It's really up to you. But fan feedback and questions is one that I think I have like 15 of these set up. And basically what this is going to do is, every week I'm going to get an email with the top fan feedback and questions from this channel. So I don't have to even come in here. I can just go to Gmail, and while I'm checking my day, just look for my insights. And I'll just schedule this one just for fun. So now that's it. I can turn it on, off, edit it, whatever you need. So that's always I'm going to leave this one on actually, because I like getting these notifications. And you can do as many of these as you want, by the way. So set it, 100 of it. Don't clog up your inbox, of course, but you can set as many of these up as you want. And then last thing for today is custom instructions. I just want to point that out. It is one of our newer features, but if you've used ChatGPT or any other AI tool, you might be familiar with it. This will just allow you to tell our AI agent how to behave across all conversations. So a great place maybe to tell it about your channel, your goals, tell it how it should respond. We had someone here that actually put in a whole transcript of Derral talking and was like, answer like Derral. I want this to be Derral answering my questions. And that's what they're getting. They come in. I think it's really cool. They come in and they're like, okay, Derral, like, what do you think about this video idea? Then it'll just give them a little Derral-ism. But yeah, you can instruct it how to respond. Again, if you want to look at it from the angle of like, I'm looking at other channels, so I don't want you to respond like it's my channel. You can just tell it here. This is the most important one though. Like, tell the agent, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? What is your channel? That is just going to help it understand better how to contextualize the answers. And then a quick sneak preview for you of what's coming is that next week we are re-enabling OAuth as well. So that allows you to link your YouTube channel, and then that gives us access to that's not shared, to be very clear. Private data stays private to you. But basically it allows us to match things like, how does the sentiment relate to the revenue of your channel? How does the sentiment relate to the click-through rate, and the watch hours, and things like that? So it gives it a little bit more context to work with. That is coming out Wednesday next week.
And that's called what, sorry?
So the name of that is OAuth. It's a Google thing, is authentication, basically. But we're just going to call it YouTube integration, basically, because it's going to allow you to integrate your YouTube channel directly. One note is that we don't take any actions on your YouTube channel for safety purposes. We don't want YouTube blocking anybody for bots or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you're going to start getting some recommendations like, hey, these fans hearted stuff, you should go and heart them back, and your watch hours are increasing around these specific content buckets, so you might want to focus more on these, that kind of stuff. So that's what's coming out next week. It's going to be really exciting.
Nice.
Did want to mention also that is not shared with anybody else, so any data that's coming from that link is exclusively here, only to you.
Nice.
Any data that is publicly available is the data that you can search. So that is all the channel comments, data, likes, dislikes, that kind of stuff. So.
Wow. I'm excited to start playing with this. I feel like I could ask you so many other questions, but let's bring it full circle. The question that I asked you at the top of the episode to get you to write your answer down to, what is the biggest mistake you see YouTubers make that stops them from growing their account? Can you hold it up quick just so we can prove that you wrote it down?
Okay. I wrote it in very messy handwriting. My handwriting is often much nicer than that, but I was trying to go quickly. And here's what I said. Okay, so oftentimes YouTubers fail to consider the health of their community and the value of engagement. That's what I told you. There was spoilers when I was talking a little bit about that. The value of engagement. Actions cost time. And as cliche as it sounds, time is money. Your fans are telling you what you need to do to grow your channel. And most YouTubers fail, unfortunately, to listen. And I think that is the biggest mistake that that YouTubers make. To bring that full circle, now I didn't write this down, but say what you want about Mr. Beast, right? Like, he's whatever. People will love him, hate him, whatever. He still reads his comments. And he is getting millions of views. So if that guy is doing it, if he's hired a team of people to do it, that means that is something that other YouTubers should do. And not because Mr. Beast is the best YouTuber in the world, but it's a size thing, right? Because like oftentimes we get kind of focused and we're just like, oh my God, I got 100 comments. There's no time. I don't, like even 50, even 20, like you want to post videos, you want to make your content. I get that, right? I do get that. That's actually why we built this tool, is because we saw that people were missing this There wasn't an easy way to get that data, but as Derral said, it's one of the biggest points of growth is listening to what people are telling you and understanding that they are telling you this with their wallet, basically, right? Even if it might not feel like it, they're telling you with their wallet. They are telling you what they want to see. They're telling you, and every time someone says a comment, there's 1,000 people that aren't saying it, but they're thinking.
Wow.
So that is by far the biggest mistake I see YouTubers make. One thing I'll leave you with here, because I have 30 seconds, is a type of analysis that related to this. I see almost no one do except for like the biggest YouTubers. So that's something that should probably tell you something, which is called channel thread depth. So basically, you can ask the AI to do a depth of thread analysis on a channel. And this is a fantastic way of understanding the health of the community related to each other. So basically, let's say that I'm Alan Shinkin Chow, right? I get millions, billions, millions of views. What we've noticed is that his comment depth thread is about 3 comments on average. So like people aren't engaging with each other. They're only engaging with that object of content, that object of their fandom, right? That's great. But if anything happens with that object of the fandom, boom, done. Like there's no leeway here. Whereas a channel like Colin and Samir, we can actually see that, wow, there's a huge ratio of repeat commenters, and specifically out of, the 895 top level comments, we're getting about 190 replies to those. So a very large ratio of top level comments to replies. That's really good for the health of the community. The community is engaging with each other.
Nice.
This is something like channels that have good depth of thread are channels that I would look for as growth engines.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, I think that's a good note to end it on. I know you got to hop off.